By far the easiest way to deploy a server-side application to AWS is to use Amazon's Elastic Beanstalk. It doesn't matter whether you've got a Tomcat app, a Spring Boot app, a Node app, a Python app, or even a Ruby app. All you have to do is package your application up in a zip file, configure it so it runs on port 5000, and I'm begging you, make sure it runs on port 5000, upload it to the Beanstalk, and boom, your application is deployed. You don't have to worry about EC2 instances. You don't have to worry about Docker containers. You don't have to worry about Fargate. You don't have to worry about the Elastic Kubernetes service. All you have to do is configure an environment for your Beanstalk application and upload that zip file, and boom, you are in business. And showing you exactly how to do that in 10 minutes or less, with most of that time just being waiting for AWS to provision its environment. That is exactly what we're going to do next. Okay, for this AWS, Amazon, Elastic Beanstalk tutorial, we're going to be deploying a Python application. But if Java is your flavor, I've got a tutorial that shows you how to send a Spring Boot Java application to Beanstalk. And if Node is your flavor, I've got a tutorial on how to send a React application to Beanstalk. But even if you watch all three of these videos, essentially the steps are all the same, and whether you want to deploy PHP or a Ruby application, it's all the same. As I like to say, it's all the same. It's just a little bit different. You start off the same way. You just go in here and you look for the Elastic Beanstalk. And when this comes up, well, if you don't have any Beanstalk applications, you're going to see a beautiful gold button, and you're going to click it, and you're going to say create an application. And what type of application are you going to create? Well, for this, it's just a web server environment, not a worker environment. Now, I also want to emphasize that for this application, you're deploying a server-side application, something like Django or Spring Boot, WebMVC, or React, specifically a web application. I mean, maybe you have some RESTful APIs in there too, but it's something that resides on the server side. If you have an application that is just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it's actually even easier to just put that into an S3 bucket and make that publicly available. I got a tutorial on that. Or just use GitHub Pages. That's how I host my personal website, and I highly recommend GitHub Pages for anyone that just has a website that might not be getting too much traffic. Now, here I am in the Beanstalk environment. I want to deploy my certification exams guru website that's written in Python, Django, for that matter. And by the way, I am starting a website, certificationexams.guru. Please check it out. It's got all sorts of mock exams to help you get AWS Practitioner certified, AWS Machine Learning certified, AWS AI certified, Solution Architect, Developer, SysOps, DevOps, you name it. So if you want to get AWS certified, please check that site out. But I'll promote that a little bit later. The environment, I'm not going to do anything with that, but one thing to note, that ends up becoming the name of the EC2 instance that gets created for you. So if you actually want to dig deep into the resources that are created behind the scenes, that's going to be the name of your EC2 instance. Now, all of that's hidden from you. That's the great thing about AWS Beanstalk. All of the low-level stuff is hidden. We only have to worry about deploying our Python applications. You can have sort of a custom domain name there. You can specify the subdomain on US West 2 elasticbeanstalk.com, assuming it's available, which it is. And it looks like we're cooking with gas here. We've got the application name, we've got the environment, we've got our domain. Now, what platform are we going to use? Now, look at the cornucopia of options here. There's Docker, there's Go, there's Java, there's .NET, there's Node, PHP, Tomcat, and even Ruby. But we want Python 3.13. That is going to work for us. And at this point, I always recommend people just choose to deploy the sample application. You can upload your code right now, But it's much better to just get the sample application running, see your application running in a browser without problems, get a baseline of what the logs look like when there are no errors, and then you upload your code. You just put your code in a zip file. If you've configured a port, you got to make sure it's 5000, because if it's not on 5000, you're in trouble. Make sure you use // in your zip file, otherwise it won't work. So it's a warning for Windows users. But yeah, get it working first with the sample app and then upload your Python application, your Django application in a zip file, maybe even Flask. Okay, I'm going to click that beautiful gold button there. Click next. We need some roles. Don't panic. We need a service role. Just click create role. Accept the defaults. Click next. Look at the different permission policies that are going to be added. Click next. Look at the JSON like you know what it means. Click create role, and boom, you're done. Now you got to do this twice. You're going to have 2 booms in here. Create role again. Accept the defaults. Click next. Approve those permissions by clicking next. Look at that JSON. Figure out what it means there. Pretend you understand it. Click create role, and boom, your second role is created. By the way, this is the actual website that we're going to be deploying. That's my personal one. It's written in Django, but we're not there yet. Okay, back on this page here. So I created these service roles. Why? How come this not? I'm just joking. You got to click this little yin yang refresh button, and there you go. Boom, we got both of our roles in. Now click that gold next button, and you will be taken to the next page. Pick a VPC. I got a bunch there that I was doing some EKS workshop stuff, so I'll piggyback off that. You can activate a private IP address. I don't find that's necessary for me. The reason why I don't find it's necessary is because I've got that URL, and if I'm using Route 53, I can just track my domain, point my domain name to that resource. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. I'm going to click a couple of subnets here. I think you got to click at least 2. I won't judge you if you click more. You can configure a relational database access for Amazon Beanstalk. I'm not going to set that up right now, but I have some tutorials that work a lot with that. I'll click the next button here. It's going to ask me what I want with a root volume. I don't need any special SSD or IOPS there, so I'll leave that alone. Take the defaults for CloudWatch, set up a security group so someone can access the ports on your container. I'm going to accept the default security group here. You can specify auto scaling configuration, but I'm just going to do a single instance, so I'm not going to get too tricky there. By the way, if you want to learn more about EC2 auto scaling, I do have a tutorial on that that'll show you all the ins and outs. So please check that out if you're interested. I think that's really important if you want to understand how AWS and Elastic scaling works, but that's for another day. I'm going to accept all the defaults here and click next. Take the defaults on reporting here. When will the managed platform be updated? Fridays at 1. I guess that works well. Do I want email notifications? Yeah, email me at AWS at certificationexams.guru. That's where I want the emails to go. By the way, that's the website name, so check it out if you want to get AWS certified. It'll help your career. Okay, rolling updates. That's all looks good. Deployment preferences. That all looks good. Software. How do you want to host this? The default is Nginx, but you can also use an Apache web server. We'll use Nginx, but I'm a big fan of Apache as well. So choose your own adventure. Notice we do have a path to Python there as an environment variable. If there's other environment variables that you need, add them in there. I'm going to click next. And we are now on the review page. Make sure everything looks good, and then click create, and boom, now all of a sudden the Beanstalk is going to start provisioning your environment. Now this will take a couple of minutes just because it's going to spin up some EC2 instances. This gives me some chance for self-promotion, I guess. A couple of books in the back there if you're interested. Hibernate Made Easy. I don't think that'll go too well with the Python crowd, but Monty Python people have a sense of humor. So if you're interested in The Simpsons at all, I wrote a little book called Pickering Springfield. It's all about how the fictional city of Springfield is actually based on a town in Pickering, Ontario, called Ontario, Canada, called Pickering. So check that out. And also, I helped out with Darcy DeClute Scrum Master Certification Guide. So I'm pretty proud of it. She did a great job. If you're interested in getting Scrum certified, product owner certified, and really advancing your career, it looks great on a resume. I read this book and I passed the Scrum Master 1, Scrum Master 2, and the product owner exam. A lot of people are using this to score 100% on the exam. So give that a look as well. Like, subscribe, sign up for my newsletter. The newsletter is important. You can get lots of updates on AWS products and learn about what's going on the certification exams. And leave a comment. My videos don't get a lot of traction. I don't know, the YouTube algorithm hates me, so maybe it's because I ramble on like this too much. But like, subscribe, add some comments, stuff like that really helps out the algorithm. Now, it looks like the environment is transitioning to a pending state, and pretty soon the EC2 instance will have launched to support our Amazon Elastic Beanstalk environment for Python. Okay, and it now says the instant deployment completed successfully, but I'm from Missouri. I need to be shown these things. So just click on this link, see what happens. And oh no, it doesn't work. I'm just joking. It says continue to site. We haven't set up SSL. If you want to set up SSL, super easy to do, barely an inconvenience. I got a tutorial on setting up SSL in AWS, so check that out if you actually want to put a certificate on that. But yeah, this is the landing page. Everything is up and running. Welcome to your Elastic Beanstalk application. Benefits of Amazon's AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Easy to get started, as we've proven. Maximum flexibility. It's a managed platform with auto-scaling, health monitoring, and deployment options. Now, that's all pretty cool, but we don't want this page. We want our own website, right? And so I do have a little Django application that I have created here, and it's up on my GitHub if you want to go find it there. But it's got a couple little web pages in there, all of the interesting Python files. And what I've done is I've zipped this up and I put that in an application.zip file. A couple of things. If you are playing with ports, make sure that your applications will be running on port 5000. So if you've tried to strong arm the port and tried to put it on a specific one, just make sure that it's actually going to support port 5000. I don't know if that's a huge problem with Python applications, but in other environments like Java, like Node, like your React applications, you have to configure it for port 5000 or it won't work. Also, these zip files have to be created with Unix-based slashes. If you just use Windows WinZip to create the file or a standard Windows compression algorithm, you'll get the slashes in the wrong way, the backslashes instead of the forward one, and that'll stop it right in its tracks from deployment. So a couple of things to keep in mind. Make sure it works on port 5000, and also make sure you've got forward slashes in the zip file. As I said, the port 5000 thing might not be a huge issue with Python, but certainly if you're deploying to other environments. So how do we get that application up here? Well, it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. You just go to your environment, say upload, and deploy. Choose that file. You just got to find that zip file. There's our Django file right there. That's the folder. There's the zip file, application.zip. I'm going to click deploy here. And boom, all of a sudden our Python application gets deployed. Now, don't go too fast here because it's going to take a while for this to run. It's going to have to reboot those EC2 instances, or at least redeploy inside those EC2 instances. Python's probably a little bit faster to do that than some other environments, but you do have to be patient. Okay, and look at that. It now says instance deployment was successful, but you know where I'm from Missouri. I need to see it. So I'm going to click on this little button to go to the website, and there we go. Our Python application has now successfully been deployed. It's actually got a URL on it. What do you call a fish without an I? Fish. So there you go. That's how easy it is to use AWS Amazon's Elastic Beanstalk. All you have to do is create the initial configuration, and then once you've got it done, take your application, zip it up, make sure it's available on port 5000. If you have an environment that configures that port, then upload your file and there you go. You've got it running. That's how easy it is to deploy your applications with AWS Elastic Beanstalk.